Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a literal hidden battle that's happening right now just beneath our floors. We're going to use Danville, Indiana as our case study today, and let me tell you, it turns out the ground beneath our feet, it's a whole lot more hostile than you might think. Our home infrastructure is basically on the front lines of an invisible war.
I want you to picture this. It's 3 a.m. You groggily step off the stairs into your basement, and bam! You're instantly knee-deep in freezing, dirty water. It is just a visceral, terrifying panic. Your pipes haven't just sprung a little leak, they've completely surrendered. And in moments like this, thousands of dollars of damage are happening in literally just a few hours.
Okay, let's dive into this. When a disaster like that strikes, it's so easy to just blame a faulty piece of hardware or maybe just really bad luck. But what is really destroying your pipes? Well, the surprising truth here is that the real culprit isn't usually the plumbing itself. It's actually the surrounding environment actively working against it.
Section 1. The Danville Plumbing Battleground.
So, our source data outlines a perfect storm of invisible enemies specific to the county. We are talking about shifting clay soil, totally brutal subfreezing winter cycles, hard water with high mineral content, incredibly aggressive mature tree roots, and of course, aging galvanized pipes. If your home was built between the 1950s and 1980s, your drains and pipes are already reaching the end of their natural lifespan, right when they're facing this constant, hidden environmental pressure.
Section 2. Nature versus your pipes.
First up is shifting clay soil. And guys, this is a very active antagonist. During heavy spring rains, the clay absorbs that water and expands dramatically. Then, in those dry summer months, it completely shrinks and contracts. This constant underground movement is literally pulling at your water lines day after day, until eventually, they just crack and separate right at the joints. And this brilliantly illustrates the infamous freeze-thaw cycle. From November through March, severe cold snaps freeze the water resting inside your exposed pipes. That expansion physically splits the pipe wide open. But the real disaster actually happens when the temperature finally rises. The ice melts, all that pressure releases, and suddenly, boom, water is just flooding right into your home.
Now, just imagine 50 gallons of water instantly dumping onto your basement floor. That's the volume of a typical residential water heater completely rupturing. And why do they fail so dramatically? Why do they betray us like this? 2 words: hard water. That high mineral content accelerates sediment buildup inside the tank, creating these intense hotspots and internal corrosion until the whole tank catastrophically fails. And the worst part? It usually happens with absolutely zero warning.
Section 3. The most common culprits.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that the number 1 and 2 spots for failures are dripping faucets and running toilets. Those are usually just simple worn washers or flapper failures. But the number 3 and 4 issues, clogged drains and low water pressure, well, those aren't just hardware failures. Those are direct results of the environment literally choking your supply lines and invading your system. We found this incredible quote: "Mature maples and oaks aggressively seek water sources, infiltrating sewer lines through small cracks." Basically, these local trees are constantly, ruthlessly hunting for moisture. Once they find even a tiny hairline crack in a sewer line, they force their way in, expand, and catch all kinds of debris. It creates these severe blockages and, frankly, terrifying sewage backups. Professionals actually have to deploy high-tech video inspection cameras just to diagnose exactly where these roots have taken hold.
Section 4. Demystifying repair costs.
Okay, you might hear a number like $5,000 and think, hey, that buys a whole new bathroom, right? Well, not quite. A $5,000 remodel really only covers a basic, surface-level cosmetic refresh. What it absolutely does not include is the massive expense of moving plumbing lines or updating 70-year-old cast-iron drains to modern code. If the infrastructure behind the walls is crumbling, well, you're essentially just putting lipstick on a pig.
And this perfectly highlights exactly why plumbing bills can be so shocking. You've got your expected costs, right? Labor, parts, service fees. But then you have the hidden costs. These are the sneaky things that catch homeowners off guard in older neighborhoods. We're talking permit fees, lead pipe abatement, a rusted main shutoff valve literally snapping in your hand, or hitting massive immovable rocks while trying to excavate that stubborn clay soil. This is exactly why transparent, upfront, flat-rate pricing from your plumber is absolutely crucial.
Section 5. The professional fix.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a real solution. To resolve these massive emergencies, the pros use a structured 3-step framework.
Step 1 is rapid response and assessment, which means getting live dispatch and putting diagnostic cameras right down into the pipes. Step 2 is providing transparent options, giving homeowners the choice between a temporary fix or permanent solution, always with flat rate quotes. And finally, Step 3 is the guarantee. They rigorously test the function and back the whole thing up with written warranties. Crucially, all of this professional work leads to one absolute truth: code compliance equals investment protection. By pulling the proper county permits and strictly following the Indiana Plumbing Code, professionals are protecting your drinking water from contamination. And, just as importantly, they are protecting you from massive liability issues when it finally comes time to sell your home.
So we've seen how shifting soil, freezing temperatures, hard water, and aggressive tree roots wage this daily, hidden war on aging pipes. I leave you with this final, crucial question. Is your home's infrastructure actually ready for the next freeze? Because whether we like it or not, beneath your floors, nature is already preparing for its next attack. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and seriously, go check those pipes.